Hello, my friends. Welcome back to another Adobe Photoshop Creative Challenge. My name is Idara. If you guys don't know me already, I am a portrait photographer based in Phoenix, Arizona, and I'm really excited to be back for another Photoshop Creative Challenge. I joined y'all last week where we talked about, I believe we talked about how to create like a fisheye lens. I'm losing track of my days, y'all. A fisheye lens, and today we are going to be talking about how to edit a beauty portrait in Adobe Photoshop. So I'm gonna turn over to the chat and see how y'all are doing. Welcome. Hello, my friends. I see Cody in the chat. Thank you so much, Cody, for moderating this stream. Welcome everyone. And Cody's gonna go ahead and drop in the starter files for today's photo or for today's challenge. You will find the image that we will be editing today. It is a portrait that I shot on a beauty shoot a couple of, maybe about a month or so now, and it's quite, you know, if the subject that I'm going to be editing today sees me editing this on the stream but knows that I have not finished the photos to send to her, my apologies. But we're gonna go ahead and get right into it. So you guys will have access to this photo in your starter file. So go ahead and click that, and we're gonna go ahead and move that into Adobe Photoshop. Now, I do wanna make one quick call out. The only thing that I have done is I did open up this image. Obviously, when you are importing the image into Photoshop, you will have the option to make any adjustments in Camera Raw. The only adjustment that I like to do is I changed the color profile from Adobe Color to, I believe it was Vivid. That is my go-to. I really like how it brings out the contrast. So I just want to make a quick note because that was something that I did off air, which again, just a quick option there. If you choose to, if you don't, no problem. It's just a preference that I have. So hello, Franco. What is up? I see Robert in the chat. Hello. Okay, perfect. So yeah, so I have this beauty portrait here. So there's a couple of things that we'll touch on. Well, I think, if time allows us, I do want to change the background. So that is step one, or one of the steps I want to do. I want to make some slight edits to her skin, just retouch her skin slightly. Usually, actually, I used to use... you have a whole technique to retouching skin, but since we have generative AI, I like to use Generative Fill to do skin retouching. So I will touch on that a bit. And then also we have our product, right? We are showcasing this Dior lipstick, so I want to make sure it pops out as well. So to get started, we're gonna go ahead and duplicate our layer. I always start with duplicating the layer, because if I am making any mistakes, or I want to just start all over, I don't want to be doing this on the original layer. So that is step number one. I feel like I say that in every single stream because it is so important. Awesome. So the first thing that I think I'm going to do, just so it kind of helps me see how this image looks as a whole, I think I want to start off with the background. Now, the reason why is because before I get into, obviously I can do some skin retouching, which I'll do shortly, but I want to see what is the goal for this overall image. What's the vibe and the kind of feel color-wise am I going for? Right now we have this brown background, which I'm not too sure. Ooh, hello. Okay, perfect. That was a little message, my bad. I'm not too sure if I want to keep this brown background. So I'm going to go ahead and select subject, and you'll see that it's going to go ahead and make a selection of our subject. And I'm going to go ahead and click Command-Shift-I on Mac to invert that selection. Now you will be able to see here, hopefully you guys can see, and let me zoom in just a wee bit. I want you guys to see that you can, you'll notice here that it is selecting around her pretty well, but obviously we have some parts of her earring that are captured here. We do also have a lot of these flyaways. I'm trying to see if I can do two things at once and see if with inverting my selection, if it'll help me take away those flyaways in a really neat way. So then that way I don't have to, oops, that is a mistake. I do apologize, you guys. I clicked on the wrong thing. I want to make sure that I don't have to go back in and select each individual hair. So I'm going to come in here, make sure I'm selected. We inverted. I'm going to click, let's click generate, and let's say white background. Let's start there and see what that does to our image. Okay, I'm not mad at it. See how, like, obviously here it's added a ponytail and it's done a few things that we don't need it to do. I am gonna come in here and just clean this up a bit. I'm gonna take my eraser brush and just see if I can, that's not gonna look as, I might have to stop like being lazy and just come in here and remove some of the selection. So that's what I'm gonna actually do first. So we're just gonna come in here. What I did, so like I mentioned before, I made I inverted my selection. Then I came over here to my quick selection tool, clicked on the plus because I want to make sure that I add all of this right here into the selection, because you'll notice that it got a piece of her earring and things of that nature, which I just want to make sure that I keep that as clean as possible. So I'm gonna come in here, just really, really slight. We got her neck, everything else looks good. There is a piece of hair that I want to take out. Beautiful. So let's try that again. We'll click generate, let's say white background. And the reason why I want to start off with a white background, I don't think I'm going to keep this background white throughout the entire edit. I do feel like what I'm going to be able to do, I'll just have a bit more flexibility with the coloring. Like I am like notorious for always adding some kind of like tint to my whites to really, oh, I didn't invert the layer. LOL. You guys, please, I have apologies because I don't know what just happened there and I realized I did not invert the layer. Okay, cool. So now we're generating that. So like I was saying, I want to start off with a white background because I really want to see if I can like just push the colors a bit more and see how that works with my overall tone. So we are generating that now. So it gave me more of, okay, beautiful. So those are some better options. So now we are on track, y'all. I feel like we had a little bit of a rough start. We had a teeny bit of a rough start, but we are on track. So I have this white background here. It did give me kind of like a more, I don't know, like what do you call this color? I don't know what this color is called, but obviously I don't like it because you can see how it added in the ponytail, which I don't want. I just want it to be white. So that is the before and after. We're going to keep that the same and leave that there. There are some slight refinements I could have made here to keep all of this detail. I'm just going to leave that for the state of time and you guys get the point there. Now I'm going to go back and click on my original layer and I'm going to do a little bit of skin retouching. Like I mentioned before, I like to utilize Generative Fill for my retouching. I don't know how many people do that. I do it because I just feel like it just makes things easier. I'm so sorry. I am team like work hard or work smarter, not harder. And so I have found that I've been able to utilize generative expand in ways to do a lot of my retouching. So we'll trial this together. Again, I do find that a lot of times when you're utilizing Generative Fill, it is trial and error, of course. But to go ahead and get started, I just made a quick selection of the area that I want to retouch. I'm not going to put in a prompt. I usually find that when I don't put in a prompt, it does a great job of just knowing that it's going to retouch the skin and retouch the area. So it's going to go ahead and generate that for us. Bingo. Lovely. So you'll see here that before and after. And then if I want to go in and see a little bit, a few variations, I can click through and see which one looks better. You can see that, again, sometimes it just does too much, like, and we don't want all of that. So I prefer this selection. But the one thing that I will say that I always do is it sometimes feels a little bit unrealistic. So I like to pull back on the opacity or fill of the generated layer just to make it feel a little bit more natural, but clean up the skin for the most part. So I'm going to pull back the opacity just a wee bit. And then same thing with the fill. And you can still see that before and after. So again, it cleaned up the skin, but it doesn't feel like so, I don't know, so Photoshop-like. And then I can come in and clean up like the little small blemishes that are still showing through. But I feel like this makes the skin look a lot more natural than me just going in and leaving it at the initial result that we got. So I'm going to come in here for her chin. You can see she has a little bit of slight redness down here. So I want to see if I'll be able to, if Generative Fill will help to cancellate some of that redness out. If not, I can go ahead and do that when I go into the actual coloring of the skin. I will use selective color. And selective color, I'm jumping a step, but selective color is what I love to utilize to be able to color grade skin and maintaining my skin tone. So that will be an option for us, and I can remove some of that redness as well. All right. So you can see here, it did do a pretty good job of removing that redness. I'm going to pull not too much back. Not too much on me now. All right, I think that looks good. There is a little slight outline here, so I'm going to move over here. Now, y'all let me know in the chat, when you do your beauty retouching, do you utilize Generative Fill? Let me know, because I might be abusing this tool. I just might be. But I just find, and I know there might be some like very, very talented retouchers in the chat that might be like, oh no, don't do that. I hear it. I really do. But as for me, I'm going to use it. And a lot of the times, like these images, I'm using it for social media. So it's not going to like print or, you know, at least right now until like those beauty campaigns come through. These are just going to social media. In this case, with the model, she'll be using them in her portfolio. So I find that like for me, I don't have to do too much, just enough for the human eye, essentially. That is more so my goal there, is just to do enough for the human eye. Awesome. And if you guys have any questions, please be sure to drop them in the chat, okay? I love to make this as interactive as I possibly can. So if you have questions on anything that I'm doing, questions on the coloring or anything of that nature, please let me know. Pull back the opacity there. We don't want to do too much, just enough. Okay, and then I'm going to come up here to the forehead. And this is also really nice because she does have a little bit of flyaways on her forehead, so that will be cleaned up too. She does also have some freckles as well. I do want to keep those, so that's also a part of why when I do lower the opacity, I like to also do that. So then that way, if there's any natural beauty marks like freckles and stuff like that, that I can still see them. And then if there's any blemishes that need to be removed because I lowered the opacity, I will go back and make those changes and kind of spot heal those areas if need be. Ooh, see, and the one thing I like about Generative Fill is sometimes it does a really good job of still maintaining texture when I do my skin retouching. And I just feel like that's really nice. Like, it's not like it's blurring out the skin. It still leaves, I don't know if you guys can see that, it still leaves like that natural texture. So that's personally like my preference and why I utilize it, because I feel like, to be honest, I feel like it does a pretty great job. So again, if you are a pro retoucher, let me know. Okay, I see a question in the chat. How are you making your choice for the selected areas? Is it based on the light and where it hits her face? No, actually, so that's a really great question. So I find that usually I just work in sections of her face rather than where the light is hitting. You can, if you choose to work in sections, if you want to be probably a bit more precise, it might be better to work in sections of like where she's lighter in her area. Like if you're looking at me naturally now, you'll see around underneath my eyes, my forehead, nose, and chin area, that is the lighter areas of my face, whereas the perimeter is darker. If you want to, you can focus on those areas. A lot of the times, and in the case of this right now, I am just doing a general like area, like I'm doing right side of her face, her chin, left side, forehead, kind of that situation. And when I'm doing that right and left side of her face, I'm finding that when I'm utilizing Generative Fill, it does a good job of maintaining the shadows that are already naturally there. So I don't find like it just like lightens the whole area. I think it does a really good job of like being aware of the pixels and the lighting of the pixels around that area, and just retouching that. So that was a really great question. Thank you so much for asking. See, I'm telling you, I like when y'all be asking questions, okay? We got to make this interactive. All right, so I'm going to go ahead, and there's a slight, I don't know why the separation is happening down there, but for the sake of time, we're going to skip past that right now. And you'll see that is the before with the background and the after. I'm going to turn off the background for now. where's the background layer? There we go. Just for now, so you guys can just see the impact to her skin alone. Before, after. Before and after. So I feel like that made a very drastic change for us without having to, again, sit here and do too much. And again, this is just for maybe the cases where you have to work very quickly, you don't have so much time, or you just want an easier approach. This is what I tend to do. I have a question about the hand. Is it added because it looks, hold on. I have a question about the hand. Is it added because it looks strange in color? Oh, her hand? No, her hand is not added. Oh my goodness. LMG. And you know what? When I was picking an image for this stream, I was like, I feel like the composition of this is a little strange with her hand placement because it does look like I just added in her hand. I did not do that, y'all. It is her natural hand. That is her natural hand. I think the actual composition is something that I could have been a little bit better about. I will admit that. So you got me there, okay? Awesome. So I'm going to go ahead and, don't want to save that yet. I'm going to Command O to pull out. And there you go. That's the before and after. So yeah, it does look like the hand placement was added in. No, it's her actual hand and it is awkward. That's just the composition. So we're just going to ignore that for now. Awesome. So we have, this is all done there. Now I'm going to go ahead and what I like to do, y'all, I'm going to duplicate that group and I'm going to call this retouch and background. Go ahead and always name your layers. I'm going to turn it off. And then I'm going to just merge layers. That's just what I personally like to do in my workflow as I'm going. I keep obviously I'm keeping all the layers here and I'm hiding them like if in case I have to go back. But that is just my preference there just to kind of keep my like layers panels just clean. So now we're going to go in and do a little bit of coloring. So I'm going to come down here to my adjustment layer brush button, click on selective color, and it's going to bring out your selective color panel, which you guys see right here. So the first thing I'm going to call out, of course, like she has red lipstick. She has the red lipstick on her actual lips, and then she has the red lipstick that she's holding in her hand. Phil said my laugh is contagious. Oh my goodness, Phil, thank you so much. Listen, oh my God. If y'all don't be watching Phil's social media makeover, I'm gonna need y'all to tune in. I be watching that so religiously. So just a quick second to just shout out Phil. Make sure you guys watch. It's Phil and Lucas. They do a great job with this social media network makeover stream. They come on every week. I love it. I'm a huge fan. So please, please, please watch it. And thank you so much, Phil. Oh my goodness. I'm smiling now. I'm blushing. I hope y'all don't see it. So now you guys will see here that again, you know what this is going to end up doing. It's going to make general impacts to her overall skin because she does have a little bit of redness in her skin. So I'm going to actually just focus on making her skin the color that I want. Yeah, I think that's a better because you can see in that before, you can see all that redness that's there. And then the after, you'll see that like, it kind of like evens all of that out and just like balances out her skin a bit more. You'll also see, of course, it did change the vibrancy of the lipstick. So I am going to come in here and I'm just going to mask, make sure this is on black, I believe. Did I do that right? No, I need to switch that out. I was right in the first place. Don't doubt yourself. Don't doubt yourself. Make sure my opacity is up here to 100% because I want to kind of mask out her lips. We really want to make sure, especially when you are doing beauty photography, y'all, you really want to make sure that you are maintaining the true color of the product, right? So if you are shooting a lipstick or a lip gloss or any makeup beauty product, you want to make sure that even when you're editing, you're keeping that color true to what it is. So as I'm doing a lot of the skin retouching right now, I don't want to do too much to where it feels like it's like changing everything. All right. I'm going to add in another layer. Let's go into the whites. Like I mentioned before, I wanted to focus on the whites for the background. Oh my goodness, it's 12:50 already. Y'all, the time just be flying by a little bit too much for me. Like I don't like that. Okay, so I am still in selective color. I went over to the whites panel. If you guys remember in the beginning of the stream, I did make a comment about how I wanted to change the color, the background white, because I feel like when, personally, again, this is just my style, I love adding some kind of tint or color into the whites of my image. And so I feel like it just really helps with the overall color grade. So I'm going to go ahead and make some slight adjustments. Oh, thank you, Phil. You're the best. We're huge fans of you. Oh, come on. Listen, the blushing is not going to stop. I'm going to be permanently smiling for the rest of the day. So I'm going to go ahead and just, what I love to do is I just toggle back and forth, right? Like it's no real science behind it. I just go back and forth and just go based off of preference, what I like, what I see and whatnot. So just kind of play around with it. You'll really see, like, figure out where you naturally fall. And I feel like the more you edit, you also start to develop your style, and you see like, you'll see like a routine or something that you regularly do, right? So for example, I had a friend who looked at my work one day and he was like, wow, every time you have any kind of major highlights or whites in your photos, you always lean towards some kind of green or bluish tint. And I was like, really? And I didn't realize that over time in just editing, I was developing that style. My eyes naturally were just gravitating that way. So to me, there is no right or wrong way to do this. I wouldn't say do it exactly how I do it. Do it exactly to what your eye is telling you to do and what it is that you feel like makes that image look beautiful, right? So that is what's going to go into helping you develop and create your own style. I hope y'all making notes because I feel like I'm low-key dropping gems. Awesome. So I'm just going to toggle this back and forth. I really like the way that's looking. That's that before and that after. Again, it just added a little bit. I don't know how much you guys can see on the through the stream, but I felt like it just added a little bit of coloring in there. So I really liked that. I wanted to quickly also show you guys hue and saturation. So I'm going to do this. Let's go over here to our quick selection brush and see, can I like just select your lips? Yes. Just a real, I'm going to select the lips and the lipstick. So we're going to go ahead, make a selection, selective color. So we have a mask of just her lips and the lipsticks like we mentioned before. Go back to your reds. And this is where, again, you don't want to be doing too much. Like, I don't want it to make it look so like deep to where I'm false advertising. But if you want it to like make any changes to the actual color of the redness or make it brighter or deeper, you could do that. So that is one option there. Another option is to go to hue and saturation. Maybe you wanted to shoot another lipstick color, right? Like maybe y'all planned out the studio day, you were running low on time, and there was a purple lipstick that you wanted to do, right? So let's see how we can do that. What did I do here? Hold on, y'all. Okay, so I have my selection. I'm going to click on hue and saturation. What did I do, you guys? Why is it not letting me edit the hue and saturation? Oh. Is this, okay, you know what? I can't do that. We're gonna skip that for now. But if you wanted to, you could also go in and edit the hue and saturation of the color as well. We'll stick to selective color for now. And if I wanted to, and I just made a mistake there, can I go back to that selection that I had? Okay, cool. I click on the selection. I'm still in my red. I just kind of went back and I can impact. What am I doing here? Why? Oh, because I don't have a mask of that yet. LOL. I'm going to delete this as a whole. So let's just delete this layer and just start from scratch. So we have our selection there. Adjustment layers, selective color. There we go. Now we have the mask. All right, great. And then again, I can play around with the color. If I had an orange lipstick, I would prefer to do this in hue and saturation, but just showing y'all that you can make those selections and make those changes. Again, you'll see here that, of course, like when you're pushing it like too far, you'll see like the outlines of her lips. Let me zoom in a little bit. Like, we know the lips are red. So don't push it too far to where it's looking unnatural. But again, you can just kind of play around. If you wanted to deepen the color, you can deepen it. If you wanted to make it a little bit brighter and vibrant, you can do that as well. And you guys, we are literally at time. Oh my goodness. Let me go ahead and give y'all a quick recap of what we did today. So we started off with retouching and changing our background, right? So we had the brown background. I wanted to change it to white just for my personal preference. And we also utilize Generative Fill to do all of the skin retouching. So again, I hope y'all are encouraged to utilize the tools that you have. There are so many different ways to edit your photos in Photoshop. I don't believe in one correct way. And so I love to use Generative Fill, so I hope that you've learned a new skill in that. And then also going in and utilizing selective color. When you're working on beauty photos, it is really important for your skin tones to be natural, right? So you want to make sure that that looks good there. And there we go. Awesome. So thank y'all so much for joining today. Make sure to stay tuned. We do have another creative challenge coming up, the video creative challenge with Mandy, where she's going to be integrating footage and montages. So I will see y'all next time. Bye.